Okay, so in this video, we're going to get a little bit further into the we can work it out sections. Presents us with a couple new chords. We have the G here, and then we have an A. Don't worry about the S-U-S. D we've seen before. I want to show you how we get to there. I'm going to play from the second part of this verse into that, okay? We're just going to do that. I'm just going to play that quick. So back to the piano, and... here we are. Alright, so that little section we're going to quick go over. So let's go back to the sheet music here and we'll take a look at, so we know this, we played this before in the first video. So we know how all that goes. And it just repeats every time we get a verse. And then love may soon be gone, and then we got this new part here. Now, we're going to look at the chord structure here, just so you know what to do in the left hand. And it's kind of cool because sheet music can tell you like what to do at the certain words. Like, we can work it out. So we know that we is lined up with that G. So the left hand should be doing something with the G chord. And then when you get to work it out, at the out, you should be around on D. So it's cool. That's what's notated in sheet music. Everybody freaks out. Oh my gosh, can't read it. But it's pretty easy to decipher. So it's telling you when to play that. How do we build a G chord? And you probably figured that out from our other lessons, but I have a little cheat sheet I'm going to give you guys too that you can download. And this shows the formula for a major chord. Now, I shouldn't have put this A here. I meant a major chord, not A major. This is just the formula for any major chord. This is an example of a C major, but it's basically 4 half steps on top of 3 half steps. So on our sheet music, we have this other chord called G. Let's go back to the piano. So we know this is a G. Okay. And let's do the counting. So we know 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are right there. And then 3. 1, 2, 3. 4 plus 3. There's our G major. Here's the cool thing about chords. So this is the recipe for a G major. It's G, B, D. And we can take, let's pretend we take this D and we throw it down here. Still a G chord. What if we took this B and threw it down here? Still a G chord, that works. Now you notice what I do is sometimes I'll do like an octave just to kind of fatten things up. So here's a G major, then here's another G on top. And what I sometimes do is I'll leave out the B and keep the D in there. Let's play this. Now, if you're not comfortable with octaves yet, that's fine. You can just do the G. So at this part, we can work it out. It's and then a D. Okay. Now, think about this. So we did a D before. We know it's a D, F sharp, A. All right. This is the recipe. Now, what if we took this D, threw it up here to that D? That's still a D chord. And remember we played G before? And go to D. You see that? The movement is very subtle. This stays right here. And when you think about the thumb, this just moves down. Like that. So, let me play this. Right? Now the next part of that, we look at the sheet music again. We can work it out that we just played. The next one goes to a G to an A. So, we can, that's even easier. So, right? So I'll play that. We can work it out, both of them. Okay, so. All right. So that's that part before we get into the bridge part. The life is very short. So let's go back to the sheet music. And you're like, okay, well, that's nice. How did you know how to play the notes? We can work it out. Well, I'm glad you said that. Right here it tells us we can work it out. Now, before we even decipher anything on this, let's just analyze it. So we have this weird note that we haven't seen before, and then here's another one with a dot. What's that all about? And here's this one. These guys, do they not look like they're in the same position? That's the same note. We can work, and then it jumps it out. These two right here, and that is the same we played before. Okay, so we kind of know this. If we remember before, that's a D. But what are these notes? Here we have, it looks like this note is up in the air with like a slice through it. Well, let's look at our trusty cheat sheet I have. So here's this treble clef we got to look for. Let me go back to the sheet so you know what I'm talking about. That is a symbol. That's one of our keys. We got to know that. It's this guy. It's called a G clef or treble clef. So there it is. And then here's that note, and there it looks, here it is right here. And it's basically, it's an imaginary extension of all these ledger lines. We call these ledger lines. See all these lines here, these lines here. But in music, we're not going to make 50 billion lines like this because it would be really confusing to read. So in music, they decided to do 5 for the treble clef and 5 for the bass. And then if you're going to extend it, we just put an imaginary ledger line. That's this. So here's this note. So what is this? Up here, it's pointed here. Now, if we know our keyboard, which we should, we know where this is. So in relationship to the middle C down here, that note is way up here, and we know that's an A. So there's that A. Now let's go back to our sheet music quick. It's an A on we can, or like we, it's just we. I'll play it there before we go there. Now what's this next note? Well, we can see that it's the space just after it. We know it's the next note down. Okay, we'll go back and look. There it is. It's this note right here, and we go up here, and it's G. Look, they're right next to each other. So it's an A, G. We can. All right? So we can work. So those two notes are here. Let's go back to the piano. It's these two. We can work. Okay? Now, these little bars and these dots has to do with the rhythm. We're not going to get into that because we know the rhythm of the song. We know how the song goes because we've heard this all our life. So we know it just tells the rhythm, and we're not going to worry about that. We're learning the notes right now. Step by step. First things first, all right? So we can work, and then here's these two, it out. And what's that? We know that's D. So let's get back to the piano. So we can work it out. Okay? And if we go back to the sheet music, the second time he says it, it's the same thing. We can work it out. And they add another note there, a C. Okay? I believe we played C before, did we? Or am I tripping here? I'm not sure we've played C before. Unless I'm just not remembering, but we'll go through it. So here it is. Treble clef, third space. Let's go to our little thing here. Treble clef, third space is right here. And that is a C. It's an octave up from middle C. Now, we got to remember, so here's that C. What if I just played that how I think it is? So, woo, that doesn't sound right. All right, let's get back to the sheet music. Here's that C, but remember we have a key signature. This means if we remember what this note is, every F is sharped, and here's that third, this sharp symbol is over the third space. That means every C is sharped. So we know that this should be a half step up. So here, half step up. So it's C sharp. So it sounds right. Now, you just learned that we can work it out. It was a little bit of, hair burning, a little bit, going through the sheet music like this. But Now you got it. And so every time we have a week and work it out, it's the same. So if you learn the verses and you learned this we can work it out spot, I would kind of want to call that like pre-chorus or something, or chorus, main chorus, you like learned half the song. So here's how that goes together. So remember our chords. Now, let's go back to the sheet music. The left hand has that A, okay? So remember when A, start on an A, it's an A major because it's just a capital letter. Don't worry about the S-U-S. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. A major. And look at the way we did this. So I showed you to do this. So these we can work it out areas. The left hand's just going, we can work it out. We can work it out. They're very close to each other. The left hand's not jumping all over the place. Just get comfortable with these. So together, and you start out slow. Now don't worry about it if you're going like snail turtle slow. I'm an accomplished player, and when I learn a new song, I'm going mega slow. I even remember when I was in college, I took piano in college and graduated with it, but my teacher said, and even before college, I said, if you can't play a song in like super slow motion, you can't play it. You can't play it well. You're going to play it amateur-like, and it's a skill. It's actually hard to play slow. If you can play it perfectly through, right rhythm, everything else slow, super slow, playing it fast comes really easy. That's how you memorize it and get good at it. And then you can speed it up because it's like second nature. It's just like when you ride a bike, you're not thinking about pedaling after you've learned it. When you drive your car, you're not even thinking about what your feet are doing. They just automatically know what to do. It's the same with piano. You just remember it because you've practiced it. This just feels natural. At first, it's going to feel foreign. Okay, so from here, we're going to stop here, and then in the next video, we're going to learn the bridge part, or they call it the middle or the bridge, and that's, you know, this part. All right, we'll see you in the next video.